My name is Dr. Richards, and I teach both biology and chemistry to 9th and 10th graders respectively here at M-A. Genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, is a topic that is hotly debated and it's in the news a lot, and so that is what I'm going to talk about today. Basically, some scientist in the lab has genetically modified the organism to either have a gene that it didn't used to have or to maybe take a gene out that it normally did have. I would like to talk about CRISPR, which is this new technology that is going to allow this flood of GMOs on the market. CRISPR is an acronym that stands for Clustered Regularly Interspaced Palindromic Repeats, for what the DNA sequence looks like. And what it is that there's this enzyme that recognizes the sequence of DNA and acts as molecular scissors to cut the DNA. And scientists can direct where CRISPR cuts so that it's extremely specific, and they can alter the DNA sequence to correct a mutation. They can completely get rid of a gene, they can delete a gene, and it can be done with quite a lot of precision. CRISPR, you are actually able to change the genes at the embryonic level. So we're talking like a 2-celled embryo. And you can do it on a wide variety of organisms, so it's not just restricted to mice. They've been able to do it in a variety of plants, mosquitoes, dogs, all sorts of livestock. What scares me the most is being able to manipulate human embryos. And so, like I said, they did this in China. Right now, those embryos were not allowed to be viable after 20 days because of the fear of what might happen. And I believe that the embryos actually died as a result of the CRISPR. So right now, technologically, it's not possible, but it's going to be. These are small technological snafus that can be ironed out. So we need to think about, okay, this could be great. We can completely get rid of a genetic disease. Say that you've been trying to have a child with your partner, and you have a high risk of giving cystic fibrosis to the child. They can screen the embryo. This is obviously done in vitro. They can check for the genetic disease, and if the embryo has cystic fibrosis, they can go in with CRISPR and correct it so that your child is born without that genetic disease. Sounds great. None of us want to have a child born with a genetic disease. So that is obviously a huge benefit. However, we need to think about what the implications of that would be on society if a technology makes it so that we can eradicate a genetic disease. How expensive would that be? Who would it be available to? Now you have the technology to get rid of a disease, so does that mean if your child is born with that genetic disease that you are not a good parent because you didn't have this technology done? Are we going to create a new race of humans that have been genetically engineered, and so now the people that haven't been genetically engineered are a minority? Will insurance companies require that you be genetically engineered? So there's all sorts of these questions that we really can't predict what's going to happen that will have a big impact on our society. There's also environmental impacts. Scientists are trying to use this to repopulate endangered species. Sounds great. We have things like panda bears and polar bears on the brink of extinction. And one of the issues is that when you have a small gene pool, a small number of parents left, you don't have a lot of diversity. And so without having a lot of genetic diversity, they're more at risk to being wiped out from a single disease. With CRISPR, it is possible that you could go back in and reintroduce genetic diversity. So that sounds fantastic. We all want to be able to save these endangered animals, especially because humans are the reason that they're going extinct. However, what's the environmental impact of that going to be? We don't really know. We are really tinkering with Mother Nature. My personal stance is I think that CRISPR is a technology that is around and it's going to be around, and we should see what we can do with it to a point. I think that CRISPR and human embryos should be banned at this time. I think that the people in academics and the people that are responsible for this technology, the scientists of the world, need to get together and have a really unbiased discussion of what the implications are going to be, the pros and the cons, and come up with guidelines and regulations for how this technology can be used. its importance is huge. I think the internet was a huge breakthrough, and I think CRISPR is akin to what the internet was, especially for medicine. One thing I thought that was really awesome that they used CRISPR for, they're using immunotherapy to cure cancer, where they take your immune cells out of your body and they mix them with the cancer cells, and then they put them back in your body. They are now melding CRISPR with this technology, so they used CRISPR to modify those cells from your immune system to make them even more effective. So there's clearly a place for CRISPR in our world. I think a use like that is an excellent use for CRISPR, where you're not changing an embryo, you're not allowing it to be passed from parent to offspring, but you're still curing diseases and you're still advancing medicine. So CRISPR is amazing, but it's a double-edged sword, so it has a lot of risks too.